Okay, so for this topic, we are heading back to algebra. Okay, so solving equations, you will have covered this last year, so I'm hoping that this, especially the first bit, is familiar to you, where there's a bit more basic equations. What are we trying to do when we are solving an equation?
Figure out what.
How do you figure out the answer? Yes, you need to find the value for x, yes? So we need, that's what, when we're trying to solve an equation, we're trying to find out which value could we stick in place of the letter x to make the statement true. Okay, so that's the key. Your final step will always be x equals whatever your number is that you chose. Okay? So it says, in order to solve an equation, we're trying to find the value for letter which makes the statement true. If asked to solve x plus 5 equals 7, we know that this missing value of x must be something plus 5 equals 7. So what plus 5 equals 7? 2, yes? So we know the missing value of x must be 2. Now, I'm thinking you're probably like, well, that was stupid. No, yeah. Unfortunately, they get more challenging. Okay? So, as I've said here, when solving, we will always be ending our solution with x equals, or whatever letter we're trying to find, a certain value. So, it will always be x equals a number or whatever it is. This may seem simple for easier examples of solving equations, but if asked to find something complicated like this, we're trying to find the value of t, and look, it's in two different positions. That's more challenging, but we are going to be able to do that. Okay, so by the end of this little module, we'll be going to be able to do that super easy. Okay. All good. Now, we're going to go through a slightly simpler example as we follow the steps. Now, it's really important that you set your questions out as I do in my example. Okay? The reason being is that when you are doing questions in an exam, they must see you're working. If it gets too complicated or if you're putting equal signs where there shouldn't be equal signs, then you may lose marks for it. So setting out is going to be really important, and I'm going to make you redo questions, okay? Now I know there's only some of you here today, but I'm going to make you redo questions if you don't set it out. So make sure that you're setting it out properly before you do too many. Otherwise you're going to be really annoyed with yourself and me probably for telling you not to do it again. So let's go back to this example. So what we have to do is we're aiming to end up with x on its own. In order to do that, we need to remove any term from either side of the equal sign. Oh, sorry. If you need to remove anything from either side of the equal sign, you always do the opposite. So if something has been added on one side, to remove it, we have to subtract it. That makes sense, doesn't it? But it means that we must subtract it from both sides. Okay? So if it had been multiplied, what do we do? It becomes what? What's the opposite of multiply? Sarah?
So we had this thing on, it was like this game where we played, so it was like this machine, it would give you a time.
My question was, what would the opposite of multiplying be? What's the opposite of dividing? Okay.
Can I put it in?
Actually, should we use symbols? Let's use symbols. Well, you can write 5. No. If it had been divided on one side, what's going to happen to it? Multiplication. If it had been subtracted, Jade?
Plus.
And if it had been added, it would be subtracted. Alright, so we're good with our opposites, yes? We know what we mean by that. So it says in the order in which we move the numbers does make a difference. Okay? You should follow Z mass in reverse order. So what we're going to do is we have to see, are there any additions and subtractions that we need to get rid of? Then are there any multiplications or divisions? Are there any powers? And then are there any brackets last of all? Okay, so we're working in reverse order. So we're trying to get our letter on its own. That's what we're focusing on. So we're focusing on our left-hand side. Are there any additional subtractions?
Yes.
Yes. So there is a +6. So what are we going to have to do? We're going to have to subtract 6. And we're going to have to do that to both sides. So,
It spells Sam Deb.
does? Yeah, Sam Ben, that's backward. So, I've identified that I've got an addition. I'm going to write subtraction. And then I'm going to copy what I had. So I'm going to write 5t. Now, what's happened to the +6 and the -6? They've disappeared, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yes? And then equals. And then I'm going to write, what's the answer to 31 take away 6?
20. Why'd you write 2 -6s?
Let me just write this answer and then I will.
25.
Yes, it is totally 25. So, what I have to do, Abby, is I have to get rid of everything from the left-hand side so that I'm just left with a T. Okay? Because the bonds down here are weaker, I have to get rid of any addition and subtraction first. So I'm going to get rid of this +6.
Why'd you write it 20?
Well, because to get rid of something, I have to do the opposite to it. But whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. Okay, so it's with anything in maths, what you do to one side, you must do the same thing to the other. So if I did have a +6, I would take away 6, and then what happens is that this becomes 0. Okay, so that's disappeared now because we've got +6 and the -6, and they've merged together to get 0. And then we've got 31 take away 6. Okay? Jay, do you have a question?
No, I wanted to answer the next.
Alright, Sarah, do you have a question?
Yeah. So the answer is 5.
No, darling. Oh, so no. So this is our first step. Okay, we've got to keep going because our T is not on its own yet.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought we finished. Wait, how did we find 25?
So I guess we did 31 subtract 6. Yes. No. So it says work out any values you can as you go. So that's what we did here. The 31 take away the 6. But I'm not finished, so I have to keep going. Now, do you have space here, or should we work down here? I think we'll work down here. So we've got 5t equals 25. I've just rewritten it. You don't need to rewrite it when you're doing it. And then we say to ourselves, right, there's only one number that we have to get rid of now. It's the 5. And what's happening to the 5 and the t? Jay, you're desperate to answer me.
So you do 5 divided by 5t, and then the t will stand alone. And then you do the same thing to the 25.
I'm not quite sure you said it quite correctly, but what do you want to do to the left-hand side?
You want to get rid of 5.
Yeah, so what do you do?
You have to divide by 5.
Yeah, I think you actually said divide by 5t, but that's okay. So we divide by 5. Now, best way of doing it when we're doing these is to probably show with a line as our division, okay? So rather than use the division sign, because sometimes our answer ends up being fraction, okay? Now, we know the rules of fractions is that if you've got the same thing in the top and the bottom, we can cancel them out. So that's why that's gone, and I'm just left with a t. And then 25 divided by 5 is 5.
But wait, what did you get?
The t equals 5.
What did you get?
No, sweetheart, because this time it's 25 divided by 5. We could only cancel them out here because these were being multiplied.
And now you have to go to the actual question again?
Yes, because you have a 5 on the top and the bottom, you could cross them out. But the laws of crossing things out is that they have to be multiplied by something first. So if you had wanted to write 25 as 5 multiplied by 5, okay, then you could have crossed it out like that, but you're still left with the answer of 5. Okay, so when you just have numbers, you're just going to work them out.
How can you tell it's multiplied? Because it was
because it says 5 and multiply by 5. Okay, so when they're just numbers, just do the division. Okay, so you just pop it in the calculator. Is that a question, Sarah?
Yes. So, but now we have to go back to the actual original question, because now we know that t equals 5, so we're doing 5 times 5 plus 6 equals 4.
Now, if we have time when we're doing an exam or a test, that is a brilliant idea, because what you're doing is that you're checking your answer is correct. Okay? Because we think we've solved it and we think that t should have a value of 5, which means that when we substitute it back into the original question, as you said, 5 multiplied by which number we had, so 5 multiplied by 5 plus 6 should give us 31. Luckily it does. If it didn't, then we've done something wrong. And so that's a really good check, that if you're sitting at the end of the test thinking, I'm a bit bored now, I've checked it, this is a great check. Substitute your values back in and make sure that they give you the right answer. Okay, that's great.
Why did you choose 5 to divide by? Is it because that's what that number is?
Yes, because to get rid of the number.
whatever that
so
number
if
is.
this had said 16t, we would divide 6 by 6. Okay, because you want to be able to cross that out. Absolutely right. Okay, so check your answer by putting the value into the original question. So that's a good check. If you've got time, okay, if I'm going to write here, if time allows. Because I would rather you got through the questions than do that each time, just in case. Okay? So far, so good, yes?
Yeah.
I think I've got a slightly different sheet to you. Mine says it becomes and yours says you need to.
Yeah.
I
think something was changed, maybe.
Well, I'm hoping all my examples are going to be the same.
Let's see.
Yeah, they're the same. Okay, oh good. Alright, so EG2, solve 3p minus 5 equals 13. So remember, we're working through bed maths backwards, but we're focusing on the sides that the letter is on. So the letter is on the left-hand side. I say to myself, are there any additions or subtractions?
Yes.
And squared, you're shaking your head. Why are you shaking your head? On the left-hand side, are there any additions or subtractions?
Yeah.
So, hopefully, we see that there's a subtraction, yes?
Yeah.
What did we say was the opposite of subtracting?
Plusing.
Adding, yes. So, what are we going to add to get rid of that?
5.
5, yes. So, we're going to write plus 5, and we're going to write plus 5 on the right-hand side as well. Okay? What's happened to our minus 5 and our plus 5? They have disappeared. So, underneath that, we would write 3p equals, and we write our answer to 13 plus 5. Thank you, Jane.
And now
So far, so good?
Yes.
Yes. So, we then have to look at this. Well, what's happening to our 3 and our p? They are being, Madison, what's happening to 3 and p? They're being added, subtracted, divided, multiplied. When 3 and p are next to each other, it means they're being multiplied. Yes, good. So they're being multiplied. So we have to now do the opposite of multiplying, which is divide. So we're going to divide both sides. Remember, write it underneath it. And this time, m squared, we divided by 3 because it was 3p, yes? Well, luckily, that means our 3 cancels out. So our p is left on its own, and the answer to 18 divided by 3
6.
is 6.
Yeah, I really use that already.
Yeah?
I like algebra. I think algebra is
Is that your forte?
Yeah. I like going back to it.
Now,
What do you use algebra for?
well, algebra it comes into a lot of everyday life without us really noticing. We follow rules and things and formulae to build things and make things. So it's really important that you understand how it works.
You solve equations when you're older?
Sometimes you might have a problem and they might say, okay, we know this rule applies to all of these situations and this is what we want to have, or this is our answer, and you have to work out what things are. So yeah. In some jobs more than others. Obviously, you become a maths teacher, you do it all the time. Now, Here we've got p minus 5 all divided by 3. Now, listen to the way I said that. P divided by 5, sorry, p subtract 5 all divided by 3. So secretly, it kind of means that there was a secret bracket around it, wasn't it? Do you remember that when we had those ones?
Yeah.
So that means that if we were doing our bid maths backwards, that we need to deal with that bracket last, okay? So we need to deal with any additions and subtractions and divisions and multiplications before we touch the bracket. So is there any additions and subtractions outside of the bracket?
No.
Are there any divisions and multiplications?
Yeah.
Yes. So here we've got a 3, it's underneath, so that means it's being divided by 3. And then what's our opposite?
4.
What was the opposite of dividing? Multiplying. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by 3, and we're going to multiply by 3. Now multiplying this by 3 means that that's now gone. And I've just got p subtract 5. And then we can work out what 4 multiplied by 3 is.
12.
12. Lovely.
So that would just be your answer. But we
And
haven't
now
got
you
the
divide it by 5.
No, so as you said, we haven't got p by itself, so we've got to keep going. Well, you've got to have, remember, you've always done the opposite thing. So we look at this. We can see we've got a subtraction. So we must do the opposite of subtracting 5. What's the opposite of subtracting 5? Jane?
Plus, and then there's
Yeah.
plus 5, and then plus 5, which will give you 17.
Good.
Now
P
we
is equal to 17 because this disappeared. Yeah?
Yes. Okay.
Are we loving these?
No.
Well,
I'd like to do it here, so I'll put our tests back and go through them.
I will be able to give you your results before we leave. I just don't want us to spend lots of time, and I don't want to go through it, especially because Kyla's outside, so she might hear.
Yeah.
And well, unless you want Kyla to hear all the answers, I think that's probably a bit unfair. Right, okay. Now, with these kinds of questions, it's a little bit of you've got a choice of how you do this. Now, when we see brackets and a number in the front, what have we done in the past when we see brackets?
Well, you would do that number in the front times whatever the answer is in the bracket.
Good. So, do you remember what that process was called? It begins with an E.
Equation.
Right?
E.
EX. Does that help?
X. Exponential.
No.
Exponent. Exponent.
It starts like a little
A little.
Ulysses.
Wait. Accelerate.
Expanding. We were
Oh,
expanding our bracket.
Oh.
You certainly did not. If I played back the video, we would hear you.
You would hear me saying it.
You didn't say it.
You said exponential.
And you said enterprise.
The Cartesian
Has a relation.
Don't be silly. Right, okay. So what we could do is we could expand our brackets first of all. Okay.
Don't we do that last?
Well, the reason that we could do that is to get rid of our bracket to make it easier. Now, as you said though, normally we would leave our bracket until last. For some questions, expanding it first would be a better option. The reason being is that here, if we were to get rid of this 3, what would we do to both sides?
If you got rid of it, then you would have to get rid of the other.
Well, no, if we were going to get rid of this 3, what's happening to the 3 in the bracket?
Oh, you have to do that.
You divide. And so what we need to do is to make sure that 21, when we divide it by 3, it gives us a whole number. Now, in this case, it does. So that's okay. It's good if we can do that. Sometimes it doesn't. Okay? But I'll tell you what, I'm going to go through 2 different examples. And we're going to end up with the same answer. So I'll do one where we expand it and then rearrange it. And then the other that we do our division first. How about that? Yeah? So our first option, should we do the expanding first or should we do the dividing first? Expanding. Okay. So let's have a recap. How do we expand? Abby, do you remember how to expand?
I do not.
So Madison knows. M squared told me, or told us, that everything in here has to be multiplied by 3. Okay, so do you think you can do that for me?
2 times 3 is 6.
So don't forget this belongs with it too. So we're going to have 6x
Plus 3.
Good girl. Awesome. And that's equal to 21.
Where did we get the x from?
Yeah.
Oh, we times 6.
Okay, so the 3 is multiplied by the 2x. That gave us our 6x. And then the 3 was also multiplied by the 1.
But it has to divide it.
Okay, so remember, Sarah, for this one, this example, we're going to get rid of our bracket first.
Oh,
Okay, and then we're going to do another example where we're going to just get rid of the 3 a different way. Okay, so we've expanded it. Now it looks really similar to one of those other ones we did, doesn't it? So we look for any addition and subtraction. We can see that we've got a plus 3. So how do we get rid of that? We're going to do the opposite. So we'll take away 3 from both sides. And we get 6x equals, that's disappeared. And what's 21 take away 3?
61 take away 3.
21 take away 3. See, look, I'm doing this.
18.
Yeah.
I'm a bit confused.
Where else, Sarah? So we had 6x plus 3 equals 21.
Yeah.
And then to get rid of the plus 3, we took away 3.
Oh, I didn't see that 3. I didn't see that take away 3. I thought we said to the 21 because he's been close.
Yeah. Okay. And then our final step is to do what? Because we've got 6x.
Why does it equal 18? How do we figure it out?
Because
We
it's
have
21 take away 3.
to divide by 6.
Good girl. And that means that my 6's disappear.
So it's
And
x equals
3.
3.
3. Awesome. Great work, people. Great work.
So smart.
Now on this side, I'm going to rewrite the question.
What?
Because I remember I'm going to do it a different way.
That's what.
It wasn't that long ago I said it.
Get it together. You like it.
Like to have Nick or Dory in the room.
No,
The rest of the life.
don't bother my language.
Right, okay. Alright, so what's happening here? We said that this 3 was being multiplied by the bracket. And what did we say we would do to get rid of the multiply, which was divide? So we're going to divide this whole side by 3. And that means that those 3's can cancel each other out. So we're left with 2x plus 1. But now we have to work out what 21 divided by 3 is. So, okay, Abby,
I said first.
you're just as bad as Madison. I said at the beginning of this example that I was going to do it in 2 different ways.
We have to write that one.
You don't have to if you don't want to. You don't
I
have to do
prefer
that
this one.
method.
It's just going to confuse me. So
Okay, that's fine. But just listen out though. It you may think change your mind. Right. So we've divided both sides by 3, and now we're going to go ahead and do what we've done before. So we had a plus 1. How are we going to get rid of the plus 1?
Minus 1.
Subtract 1. Good. So we've got these disappear. So we've got 2x equals 7 take away 1 is 6. And then divide both sides by 2.
And then
Awesome.
x equals
3.
X equals 3. Luckily it's the same answer.
yeah.
Okay?
What was the difference?
Oh.
Wait, I have a question.
So for this one, hang on,
Don't go on.
we're working with smaller numbers because what we did was we got rid of this 3 before at the beginning, okay? Whereas this one, we expanded it, so we had big numbers still, okay? But both of them involve doing similar things. And in some ways, this right-hand method actually gives you an extra step because you need to divide and then still do all of the stuff. But both of them give the same answer. So whichever you are more inclined to use, go ahead and use those. Okay, good. So It may be for other questions with brackets that you just focus on that method and not write the other one. Okay? You right? Abby, you got it down now? Right, okay, this is my last example I'm going to do today. I think. No, maybe I might do that. So, my question to you here is, does it matter which side the variable, remember, is the letter, does it matter which side the letter is on? Does it matter if it's on the right or the left?
No.
Yes.
No.
Maybe. No. No.
So my question to you is, if I had 2 plus 1, that equals what? 3. Could I write 3 is equal to 2 plus 1?
Yes.
So does it matter which side we have things when we're doing questions?
But maybe it matters.
Well, so actually it doesn't matter. However, some people, if it's on a different side, they start to freak out a little bit. Hopefully that won't be you guys.
Just do the same.
You're going to do exactly the same thing. The rules are that we need to get the P on its own. Okay? So we look at this time on the right-hand side. Now, if you are one of those people that are just thinking, oh no, that's sending me over the edge, I'm going to get it all wrong, then all you have to do before you start is to copy whatever is here and whatever is there and switch them. Okay? And so if you prefer to do that, then please go ahead. Now, I wasn't going to. I was just showing you what to do if you wanted to.
I'll just.
Okay? So that's all I was going to say. That if you wish to do that, then that's fine. But let's work with it on the right-hand side and see how we do that. So, right-hand side. So remember, this line goes all the way underneath. So what does that mean?
Divide.
And it's a secret bracket, so we have to deal with which value first, the take away 3 or the divide by 2? Good, the divide.
The divide, because the takeaway is in a bracket and we divide
Good,
it by.
because remember that's a secret bracket, even though it's not written there. So, how do we get rid of the divide by 2?
You cancel.
How do we mean you cancel? Well, I have to do something to it
Times
first.
2.
You're going to multiply by 2, yes?
And then you can.
Oh, yeah.
And then on the left-hand side, I've got 12 multiplied by 2. What's 12 that?
6. Oh.
Good try.
Yes,
Maya.
Sorry, Maya. I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry, darling. It's just that you said it so excitedly with such great confidence.
So it's wrong.
But unfortunately, it wasn't quite right.
26 times 6
I said
is
6,
12.
not 26. How could you do this? I thought we
She
were
was divide.
dividing.
Bless her heart.
Okay,
Okay.
you're on the answer right. What if I said 4?
That would be stupid.
All right.
Sorry.
All right. So we've multiplied both sides by 2. So I've now got 24 is equal to P take away 3. And then
Cancel those 2.
yeah, these 2's cancel out, but I've been told off for crossing things out because some of you can't read.
Oh.
Not looking at anybody in particular.
Abby.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Look at Jade. Jade.
All right. So what's our final step we need to do?
Ooh.
Get P on its own. Sarah?
So you put a dividing into both, and then you do 3 divided by 3.
You have to add 4.
Okay, Sarah. Careful here because we need P on its own. Okay. What's happening to the P here? Are we multiplying it by 3?
Oh, take away, so it has to be 5.
Good girl. We're going to add 3 to both sides.
27 equals.
Okay, so 27 is equal to plus. Thank you.
My eyes aren't working.
Right, so we've finalised our answer. We've got the P is 27. So, as I said, if it's freaking you out, just switch both of the sides so that it's on the left-hand side. But if you switch it, just rewrite exactly the same thing so it's just on the left side. Alright?